Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Simon Head. I'm the creator and the director of Subversives, The History of Lowest of the Low. Welcome to another episode, this one featuring Mr. Ian Blurton. Before I get started, I want to let you know that you can grab this movie on Apple TV. You can stream it out of Canada, out of the UK, and out of Australia. If you don't have Apple TV, and you are an Android person and hate Apple profusely, then you can go rent the movie on YouTube. If you hate YouTube, I don't know what you want me to do. You're watching this on YouTube. What do you want from me? And if you cannot get any of that anywhere and you want to hold something in your hand, the best way to pick up this movie is by going to the merch table. Go to a Lowest of the Low show. Go pick up a movie there. You'll pick it up off the merch person. It's usually Sue and or Angie. And if you're out of the country, if you're in a different spot of the world, then the last resort is go get it on Amazon. And if you really want to grab a Blu-ray, then connect with me. And I can sell you one somehow. I can send you one. These are all good things. Do that, you'll get a movie. This interview took place on August 8th, 2022 with Ian Blurton. It was very fast. This one is one of the faster episodes. We got in. Bam, we got out. All we were talking about was Sordid Fiction. The record Sordid Fiction was the record that Ian recorded early 2000s. I've known Ian for a long time, since the mid-90s at least. Ian is an ambassador of Canadian music and was labeled on Now magazines as the King of Rock. I want to thank the community that came out and helped this movie really thrive. It's the community that makes this thing important. This is I'm very happy and glad to be a part of this community of Lowest of the Lows. Thank you to the Facebook pages and the fan groups and the friends and the people I see at shows. You guys make this happen. Tell your friends about this band, Lowest of the Low. It's very important that the word gets spread around about this band and how awesome they are. Without further ado, here's my interview with Ian Blurton. Very short. Subscribe, rate, review the show, do all the things that people do to make these segments work on YouTube. And here it is, Ian Blurton. Tell me the first time you heard about Lowest of the Low.
First time I ever heard about Lowest of the Low, wow. I feel like it was maybe like the Blue Moon days and just the rumblings, and I was definitely like when they were playing, that's what it was called, right? Blue Moon?
Blue Moon
on Blur? Yeah. And I remember they did like 5 nights in a row, and that seemed like, wow, this band's really starting to do something pretty amazing, you know?
So you know the history of the band then, because you guys, like, Change of Heart kind of was almost in sync with like the Popular Front days, probably even Social Insecurity days, right?
Yeah, like I remember the band names. I don't think I ever saw either of those bands.
Yeah.
Maybe Popular Front, but I honestly don't remember.
So maybe talk to me a little bit about Ron's songwriting then and now.
Oh, wow. Well, I don't know every single song he's written, but there's a consistency to it that it's hard. How do I put this? Yeah, I guess there's like a nice consistency to it. There's a quality to the songwriting that I think kind of sticks to like a certain level no matter what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I can appreciate that. As the early days of Shakespeare My Butt into now, I guess new music for you is probably not really on the radar with his new music.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I still check it out and stuff, but it's like, I just think that there was something, you know, there is always something really magical about that initial explosion of a band, and it's hard to keep up that kind of like I don't even know what the word is, like the childlike quality of, like, you know, when you're creating something and you have no idea that you're doing that, and once you become aware of that, I think it's hard to be consistent, you know. And I think that's something, well, both of them, you know, pretty consistent songwriters, so.
So were you obviously around sort of the reunion days where 2000 where they got back together.
I think Change of Heart opened the last show that they ever played when they broke up.
Is it Buffalo?
No, maybe it was the night before then.
Yeah, okay.
Like St. Catherine's or something like that weird.
It was the Spoke.
It was the Spoke, yes.
Yeah.
And the reason I remember that show is like, I mean, yeah, it was a little bit of a dour mood. Like it was like, oh, what's going on here? And John Brooks, who was their road manager at the time, is that Brooks or Brooke? Brooks. To get us on stage, he got one of the, like a big push cart, and he put us all on it, and then he pushed us down this massive hall and slammed us into the side of the stage, and we kind of like went flying. So that's like an incredible memory of that show. Just like, I don't know, I guess we were having a lot of fun at that point, and just watching the demise. Sorry, I interrupted your question.
No, that's totally, so I guess you were around for when Dylan comes in and John Arnott leaves.
I have no idea like about any of that
the politics
though.
and that's fine, but you did work into that worked into Sordid Fiction,
right?
Which is the album you worked on with Rudy,
right?
I think Foursquare was probably in like within a month or two.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I would think so.
Era,
yeah.
Just go through that process of recording, whatever you remember.
It was like, I felt like it was a band trying to find that initial thing again, which was really cool. And go ahead. Oh yeah, go ahead. Which was really cool, and I wish maybe there had been, I don't know, more. I guess I wish I had had more time to devote to it. But I did devote a lot of time to it, but I like in the pre-stages to understand the dynamic of the band a little bit better. But I also, was really excited by the fact that they wanted to try all sorts of, weird things and things like that, and, try some crazy arrangement ideas. And, we were recording the drums on a 4-track at like a Porta studio at the same time. We were tracking the drums to, through the board. So we were using like lots of different, feels and stuff, which I really enjoyed. And the dynamic is like, when you take one person out of a situation like that, then you have to reestablish the dynamic again. And I think that maybe that record, I could be wrong, because I'm not like super intimate with all the details, but I feel like maybe that record was like a little bit of that. Like now there's three originals, and Dylan and Lawrence, and trying to just figure it all out.
Yeah. And David explains it's probably one of the worst experiences of his life because he felt like he wasn't delivering as well as he should.
Right.
He had a new baby, had a house, just lost his job. Any memory to that?
I feel like I felt that maybe a little bit. That's too bad he feels that way. Yeah, that's too bad he feels that way. I don't know what to say. Oh God, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Well, I hope I didn't make it worse.
No. Well, he does say, had I not been the owner of the company, Ian would have fired me.
I don't think I would have. You have to walk into a situation like that too, where you don't know everyone very well, and there's like little dynamic things that happen that have nothing to do with music that make all the people important, for being there. And so it's not really my job to be like, no, you shouldn't be here. It's my job to like, I guess maybe make it as good as it can possibly be, Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, like, he's an integral part of the band,
You take David out, or any of those members. Steven for effect when he left it left sort of a hole. But Ron is such a strong, powerful force in that band that it's like, well, yeah. But David and Ron, I feel like that's the married couple that went from the 80s all the way through.
Yeah, exactly.
Still to this day.
Yeah.
David Boxall calls them like an old married couple. So, I mean, back in the day, this is sort of a side thing, but the conversation about the 90s and selling out and the fear of it, what's your buy into that?
Now, I think it's like it was such a, God, we used to worry about the stupidest shit about that, and now it's like, now that there's nothing to sell out to, it's like, well, it's kind of a weird thing that we did for such a long time. And like, you can look at it so many ways, like in like DIY, while is on one hand is incredibly powerful, on the other hand, all the workload is being downloaded to the bands, like, so they have to do everything now, you know. It's like, even getting help to do the littlest details is sometimes really hard. So it's like, I'm like, on the one hand, the empowering thing is incredible. On the other hand, having to do all the work is really hard. And then having the sellout thing on top of that is just very strange. Like, I've had so many conversations with people, like, where, you know, you doing this is selling out, and it's like, well, you know, like, people have to eat, people have to live, you know, and like all that stuff. And just like, it makes me realize maybe more and more that there was a lot of trust fund going on in the same way there is now, you know. It's like, how did those people afford to do that, you know? You know?
Jim Bryson mentioned trust fund. That's
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And I'm not shitting on that. That's you know, that's fine. Like, if you, yeah.
He was shitting on it,
right?
Because that's what he felt like. This sort of entitlement of like, I'm better than you because I'm not working for the man.
Right.
But now it's like, give me the free shoes, give me all that shit, give me the Reebok. I'll wear it because it's all like, that's how people live now.
Yeah.
It's just been such a strange dynamic about what it is to be an independent musician.
Right.
Crowdfunding. I was called panhandling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's weird. It's, yeah. In some ways, I respect like the whole Black Flag ethic, like, you know, so deeply. And then in another way, I'm almost like, what? Why? Like, you know, it's like.
So, the release came out. Are you the type of producer to see what the expectation is on sales? I think I know that answer, but were your expectations met with the artistic process as well as how the success of the band propelled the band forward?
Right. I've actually don't think I've ever checked the sales report ever on a record. Now that you mention it, maybe I should. I thought the record was going to do better, to be honest with you, and I thought it was like modern enough that it could pick up new fans, and maybe I was, you know, sadly mistaken. You know, having Adam Casper mix the record, who had just done Queens and Queens of the Stone Age and stuff, I thought it was a good choice. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it didn't seem like the stars aligned in the right way, or for whatever reason.
Yeah, you got to remember too, back then that's when the record industry was completely broken and freaking out about Napster.
Yeah.
And the industry was falling apart. Like, this got nothing to do with this, but I remember I spoke to, what's her name, Erin from Fat Records.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, we almost went bankrupt. And you think of Fat Records almost going bankrupt, is like, that's pretty insane.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, they sold millions of records, and here they are, like, thinking about how we're going to pay our staff.
Right. Like 10 years later.
Yeah.
Not even, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, you wonder about the promotion, like a better promotion. I mean, I do remember actually I was kind of proud of this. Is like the one billboard that they had at the corner of Queen and Spadina. I do remember walking up one night and seeing it and going like, well, that doesn't happen very often, you know.
Yeah.
That was cool. But I just thought that the promotion was maybe a little.
It is a tough machine to get moving. I was on the same label in the same year, too.
Right.
And it was a shit show.
Right.
Absolute shit show.
That's all Maple, right?
Maple.
Yeah, so we were on
Universal,
Maple too at the same time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we all had that meeting in that weird boardroom, and there was a lot of, oh yeah, let's get that. And it's like, did it happen? No.
Right.
I
can I just tell you one funny thing? They called us into a meeting once, and this doesn't have to be on the film or anything, but they're like, big meeting, and they're like, oh, just go into the boardroom. So we're all sitting in the boardroom. It's all, come on, sorry. And there's like all these papers on the table, and I'm like, you know, oh, what's this? And it's like a rundown of like all the acts, what they're going to do with all the acts, and the reason we're there is to get re-signed, and our name isn't on this, like. at all. It was like the SNFU, the T-shirt story,
Yes. Yes. the so you mentioned like Lawrence and Dylan, and now there's Michael, Michael from Red House Academy. He's the guitar player
Right.
now, and Greg Smith,
Mhm.
the bands. Do you feel that it's different members, but is the magic of the band still intact?
I haven't seen them live. Yeah, with this lineup. I've seen Ron solo, and that magic is still there, like the energy or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. Do they are they writing songs? Do they have a new record?
Doing a new record right now, actually.
Right
We're
on.
doing a Peacemake at Critchley's place.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And apparently it's going quite well.
Cool.
They won't let a camera in the building though. They won't let me come in. I'm like, come on, guys. I'm one of you. It's the last question.
Oh wow, that was fast.
Yeah, it was good, right? What do you think the legacy of the band's going to be? What's going to get left behind?
Well, I mean, whatever, for better for worse, that first record is like going to be, and I hope that's not something that they're weird about, because that's like a once in a lifetime thing for a lot of bands. So most bands obviously don't even get that one record, and to be able to be when did it come out?
91.
91. So 91 to now, and they're still being able to play those songs and have people sing along with them. That's like, I think that's your legacy, is the longevity of the songs and the quality of the songs. And just obviously like hitting the mark with people in some way that, who knows how you do it, right? Like, but for whatever reason, that group of songs really, knocked a lot of people out.
And there's no explanation behind that. There's no formula. People
No.
have been trying to chase that for centuries.
Yeah, and it's not like there was like this massive fall off in the quality of material after the first record. I mean, we all know bands like that where there's like one record or two records where you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. But like the quality of the material has been there. So it's just like, the question is, was the timing just perfect?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. If you got anything to close with, that's it'd be bonus.
I just remember once we played in Regina, I think it was like 2 nights after, I think Ron broke his Gretsch or something, and just I just remember the whole town was talking about this show because he had like just completely fucking destroyed this guitar. And I don't even know if it was totally intentional or not, but I guess my memories of Lowest to the Low are all quite dramatic, like big moves, So.
Thanks, Ian, man.
Thank you.
This is great. I got a parking spot. I saw a DeLorean. There's a DeLorean there.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. I like DeLoreans.
Yeah. One showed up. I'll tell you later. But thanks.